Hey guys, Mike Redeemer here. Be a warrior, not a warrior. Um, this video is going to be another testimonial. This testimony is about the time that a bunch of friends of mine came to get me um, the year after I was saved, and the adventure that God brought me on that day. So basically, um, I was praying a lot, obviously, for my family and friends. I've said that before in a previous video. And this would have been the same year that the testimony about the sword would have happened. It would have been sometime afterwards, that following summer. And I was praying again, still praying for my friends, still praying for family, still praying for other things. And one day I woke up on a Saturday morning, and the God told me, Mike, they're coming. He spoke to my spirit right here. Mike, they're coming. They're coming. And I knew he meant my friends, not my family, not other people. It was just a feeling that was my friends. And so I cleaned up my apartment in preparation of them coming. And they showed up around 11 o'clock in the morning and knocked on my door. These were friends that, they were a group of friends that were not involved in the previous testimony. They were other people. And they literally showed up dressed in, black clad goth type of stuff and things like that. Some of them did that all the time. Some of them not so much. And they basically had a van that they borrowed from somebody and said, we're gonna take you down to see a concert in Boston, and you'll be defiled and all these other crazy things, and we're gonna bring you back to the way you were and all this other stuff, right? And they'd missed me, and but they just, I don't know if they couldn't stay away or something else was going on, but I really believe God sent them there that day because of what happened next. So on the way down, I told them my testimony, the ones that hadn't heard it yet, and they just started making fun of me and all these other things and poking fun of me the whole time, it's like a several hour ride down to Boston from where I was. And we went to the Palladium, which is a large concert hall in Boston. And there was a bar or a band called Guar. Don't look it up. don't look it up. They were a little raunchy, a little crazy. They use these big puppets that they cut up with fake blood. It's kind of wacky. If you're a Christian, you probably don't want to look at it. For me at the time, when I was an atheist, I didn't care. It was not a big deal to me. And then I should say at the time before this, a couple years earlier, at the time that this occurred, I was saved, obviously. It did trouble me a little bit at that time. My spirit was not in sync with it at all. But I was there with my friends, and I felt like God wanted me to be there with them and go with them on this trip. So we got here to this place, and we go inside, and the the interesting thing happened shortly after the concert began. As soon as the band came out, the crowd on the main floor separated. Everybody rushed the stage, and I got separated from my friends completely. And there was no way for me to get to them. They were pushed way to the front, and I was stuck near the back. I kind of went the opposite direction. I met some interesting people that I witnessed to in the crowd or behind it during the concert. One guy had this little cleaver thing that was like actually sharpened. It was on a necklace, and he was doing this kind of hula hoop thing, waving it around while he was close proximity to a lot of other people. It was kind of crazy. During the concert, several things happened. One of them, the first thing that happened was I noticed that there were some small girls, young women that were getting crushed in the crowd, and they actually had these crane things, like camera cranes or what have you, that they were using with the security to actually pull people out that were getting crushed in the crowd, in the front of this, right in front of the stage. And but this girl, there were a couple of girls that were further back, and they weren't really in reach of most of them. So I got between some of these big people that they were stuck in the middle of. I could see, and I would do like these. I squeeze my way in behind them and do these big push-ups, give them time to breathe. One of them was taken out by a crane. They moved it all the way over and managed to get her out. Another one, I just kind of helped get to the back. And they thanked me. That was interesting. And then I went towards the back area, and I just witnessed to several people. And I stood back there watching this crazy display that was on the stage. And at one point, I put my hands on this rail that separated the main floor area, where there was some moshing and other stuff going on in the middle of this whole thing, and the seats that kind of went up at an angle in the back, and there was a rail in between those two areas. I put my hand on the rail, and I actually said to God, while this music was blasting, I was like, God, do you want me to witness to more people here? Do you want me to talk to more people, or do you want me to just wait for my friends? And I remember at that moment they were spraying this fake blood around, and it managed to get all the way to me, and there was blood, literally this fake blood went right on my hands on the rail. And I said, okay. So I got the symbolism there, and I started talking to more people about Jesus. I actually ended up running into an old friend from college, or I should say an acquaintance, who was in one of my college classes, and she recognized me right away because I ran for student body vice president at one point, and did some other things on campus. And so we had a good conversation about Jesus. It was very brief. I didn't have a lot of time. By that time, the concert was starting to end, and I prayed for her, and I went out. Now, I saw my friends outside after the concert was over. There was a pizza place not far down the street, and they wanted to get some pizza. I was not interested, so I said, I'll just wait by the car. So I went to the car where the van where it was parked. And that first young girl that I had gotten out of the crowd came by with a bunch of her friends, and she recognized me, and she said, thank you so much, and who are you? What are you doing here? I said, oh, I got a bunch of friends here. I'm a Christian guy. I remember right when I said that, somebody else walking to their car said, oh, I'm sorry. It's really funny. To me, it was really funny. And it's like, I'm sorry for you, man. And I was just like, it's okay, dude. And, but this young girl, she said, oh, I'm Catholic. Are you Catholic? I said, no, I'm not Catholic, but I'm Protestant, but I'll tell you my testimony. And she said, sure. And her and a group of friends were there. There were like 4 or 5 other people. And I told them my testimony quickly, as succinctly as I could. And at that moment, all of my friends were coming back from the pizza place with a bunch of pizza in their hands and drinks and stuff like that. And they stopped like 10 feet away and were just shocked. They were shocked that I, the former atheist, who was so adamant against religion in general when they knew me when I was younger, and had so many arguments against it, was now standing in a parking lot in front of them, witnessing to a bunch of younger people that were, slightly younger than myself. And the ride home was silent. They were quiet the entire time. On the way down, they had made fun of me and made jokes about me being a Christian. They said they were going to defile me, all these other things. But on the way back, there was not one peep, nothing. So that's my Palladium story. I thought I would share that because sometimes God will call you into difficult places. That wasn't the first difficult place I'd gone into. I'm not going to talk about the first one, but it places where it's like Jesus going to the tax collector's house. It's like him defending the prostitute or the not the prostitute but the adulteress, who was about to be stoned, putting himself in harm's way. Sometimes God will call you in the Holy Spirit to go places where a lot of Christians wouldn't go, and it's not so you can hang out there all the time and be like those people. It's so that you can be set apart in the midst of them, in God's timing, through the power of His Holy Spirit, with His words at that moment, for His purpose. Okay, so I was there at a very specific moment, at a specific time that was ordained by God, And that was the last secular concert I ever went to. And anyway, I thought I would mention that, and thank you for joining me. Be a warrior, not a worrier, and be blessed. I'm praying for all you out there, and thank you for watching this video. Bye.